Yeah.
What's up, man? What's up? You know what I love about our podcast?
What?
That I do it by myself. That it's all about
It's all about you,
my effort.
your effort.
Without me, the Kinetic Man podcast and the Kinetic Man in general,
Yeah.
I mean, it just would it wouldn't be
Yeah.
without me.
Right. 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 Yeah. Our
Because
business is
if
everything.
it's to be, it's about me. Favorite
You're
saying ever.
you're definitely winning. You're definitely winning.
Winning. Yep, winning. Because you win by yourself. That's how you win, dude. You
Yeah.
win by yourself.
It's funny you say that. So I have like a book list. I hear about a book on a somebody recommends it or
Well, real
podcast
quick,
on it.
obviously, I'm joking.
What?
Everybody, I'm joking.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I'm
yeah.
joking. Go
This
ahead. Your
this
book list.
book this book titled Winning. It's right here. I got it
Mm.
from the library like 2 days ago from Tim S. Grover. The Unforgiving Race to Greatness. I'd heard him as a guest on a podcast, and I had it on my list, and it was at the library, so I picked it up, started reading it, and he was the coach for Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and some other well-known athletes and CEOs and whatever. Um, and honest assessment, I couldn't finish it. I've read 3 or 4 chapters of it now. And like every chapter, I was reading what he was saying about him as a coach and about Michael Jordan and Kobe and their mindset. And it was everything was just about like how they did it on their own. How they had this warrior mentality of like working harder, waking up earlier, grinding, hustling more on their own. Um, you know, if their teammates couldn't handle it, then they would walk over them. They were, you know, I don't know them, like, but the book talks about like they were kind of dicks. They were kind of a-holes to their teammates, and a lot of players didn't like them because they were kind of jerks to them because they just had this winning mindset. And like I've had a hard time reading it. So I don't believe that. I don't think that that is a winning mindset. Oh,
Well, I would encourage you to finish if you can, because I
yeah,
think that we should always educate ourselves on the other side. We should be well versed in different perspectives is my personal belief, and I'll probably pick that book up to read it. It sounds like I will lack inspiration, but there's always something to be learned. Like, I do believe the attributes of hard work and other things that made those two men unique are things that we could learn from, but I also believe that nothing is so. It depends where you put your priorities. Is your number one priority, and I'm asking myself this question as a fifth grade head coach for tackle football, flag football coach, how I encourage my daughter on the soccer field, and what I tell my son, my youngest son, about his competitive nature and spirit and all that kind of stuff. And looking at them all differently, and where's the value, right? And how do you define winning? Because that book is titled Winning, and that basically seems to me, I've not read it, so full disclosure, but it seems to me that winning is paramount, and that winning is the score on the scoreboard and the championships and the rings
that's
attained.
right. Yep.
But if your relationships suffer significantly, or you create, it just depends where you put winning, right? Like, that could be winning for somebody, and that's great. But I think it's interesting to me, the idea that what I can appreciate about those men is that I've heard it often said that they brought the rest of their team up. Like, that's one of the biggest criticisms between, like, when they talk about like MJ and and LeBron James, and which one makes their team better, and this, that, and the other, all these debates, which I find to be they're fascinating. I think it's very thought provoking, but I think there's this disconnect with one. We talked about this in a podcast with Brandon Jones. You don't do it on your own. Like, I've never seen the basketball game where a team put a single player on the court to play against the other five guys. Like, I've never seen that game happen. And I'm pretty sure, I'm just speculating here,
Yeah.
but I am almost positive that in that 1 versus 5, those 5 would probably dominate. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure no single man or woman can take on an entire team and win a basketball championship on their own. Football, we have the same conversation. I'm talking. Nobody at the 5th grade level wants to play offensive line or defensive line. They all want to be running back, quarterback, receiver, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to these kids, and Jake is one of those kids. He's a bigger kid. I'm like, dude, what play happens without the O or the D line? Like, just tell me what happens if you don't have an O line. Like, there's no such thing as football without an O line.
Yeah.
Period. That's it. No play happens. And so this idea of, I think, is such a lie that it's so pervasive, that especially in our American culture, that if it's to be, it's all me, right? Like, I'm independent. It's on my shoulders. Pull myself up by my bootstraps. All this stuff that completely discounts the need for a tribe, a team. And it's just not. I mean, it's just false. Like, it just is so blatantly false. But yet we believe this stuff that, well, no, it's all about that dude. Really? Like, I just don't understand that. I just don't. It's so basic. Even in swimming, right? Or in a one-on-one sport.
Yeah.
UFC. I love UFC. There's 2 fighters in the ring. They're fighting each other. But like, the number of coaches these guys have. Like, have you ever was a black belt jiu-jitsu practitioner ever just born? Like, I don't think that happens. I could be wrong. It could happen in Brazil, and it could happen in Japan. Like, because those are the key places for jiu-jitsu and judo and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it happens there. But like, I've just never known an athlete to not need coaching, to not need somebody in their corner to literally train them, to teach them when they break their leg. I've never known. I personally don't know a doctor, a medical doctor, UFC fighter who heals his own leg, right? Like, I just don't know these people. They may exist, but the idea that we do it alone is just, I'll just be frank, dude, it's stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah, dude.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, I'm not gonna, it's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you make a great point about finishing the book, because I honestly was considering not finishing the book. I actually went back to the library yesterday to look for a new book to read, and found Tim Tebow's book called Shaken. And it's about him. A lot of people would think he was successful, but he's had some challenges and hardships too. Like, he got cut from the NFL, and it's about that and what he did, how he handled it, and very different mindset than what Tim Grover portrays in Winning. And he goes straight to God first and foremost, but then he goes to his family, he goes to his friends, he goes to his tribe, he goes to his team. He highlights like other people. He highlights his team, his coaches. And it's just a very different perspective on things. And but you make a good point. I will finish the book to get through it, to open up my aperture to read something that I might not agree with fully. But yeah, it's interesting the way
You're on a sports book kick. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Well, and I also think we have to read books with, I think everything that we ingest, everything that we pursue, that we study, you have to try to also see like the agenda, the bias, like all these things are very good training aids for critical thought.
Yeah.
And so, a book about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan by default will most likely sell, right?
Yep.
And so I think looking at it through the lens of, okay, and I don't know this author, I've never read any books by him, and I'm not faulting or criticizing in any way. There may be an element of that him want to write a book that sells a lot, to make a lot of money. Like, I don't know. I don't know, but ultimately to be able to look and fully assess these things. And because I think that's what's missing so much from our culture today anyways, right? The ability to critically think, to move past. I've been guiltily watching. I say guiltily. It's fascinating to me. There's I like observing, with the election coming up. I'm not a huge political guy, but I like the human element of, there's these people on both sides, and there's some funny ones when I forgot the dude from the Daily Show that goes out to Trump rallies. Again, I'm not expressing a support for or a support against Trump or suggesting anything for his supporters or not. And also, you have to recognize they're cherry picking the interviews that make these supporters look like a bunch of knuckleheads, right?
Yeah, right.
Which is not hard. You could do that on both sides. It's very easy to find the idiots with their opinions. It's very easy to do that. So it's a comedy show / news, but it is very funny. I forgot his name. The guy
Jon
that goes
Stewart?
out and does it.
Is that Jon Stewart?
No. Jon Stewart's so long ago. They're on
Yeah,
like
I
two
don't
hosts
watch.
since then.
I don't
No,
watch TV.
it's not the host. It's a guy that they send out, the correspondent, to do it.
Yeah,
He's hilarious. But I've been watching some of these interactions, and I'll tell you what's fascinating to me, why I continue to watch and try to observe, is these people, these opinions that they share, to them is truth from God, right? Like, the military is running, the very popular one, the military is running the government. Biden's not really president. Like, things like this, that, again, the political side of it, I don't care. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested is human nature and the ability to twist and turn things simply because you disagree with reality. So you're going to create an alternate reality. Well, this whole idea that we win on our own, that to me is in the same boat. It's an alternate reality that completely like Scottie Pippen was a big part of Horace Grant. Horace Grant was a big deal. Shaq, was a huge part of Kobe's rings. And I don't even know. I think the majority of Kobe's rings, again, I don't really care about this that much, but I'm pretty sure the majority of those rings came with Shaq.
Yep.
And when Shaq left, those rings also did not come at the same frequency, right? So, like, it's just a very interesting idea to just take, and those guys are great in their own right. So you're just taking that genius out of the game. You're taking that genius out of the equation. And to me, that's not the true representation of the story. And I'll tell you, it takes great men. And I watched this one time, strong caveat. I watched this one time. I've not revisited because it was so cringy. But when Michael Jordan did his Hall of Fame acceptance, I don't know if you watched that. I watched that years ago. Dude, I would encourage you to watch it, and maybe I should watch it again. Dude, it was, all I remember about it is that it was so vindictive and so petty that, like, I cringed through it. I was embarrassed for this great man because he was like, oh, and I want to thank, so-and-so coach for cutting me and not believing in me. I showed you. Like, it was like that level of, like, interaction. And again, full caveat, it's been a while since I've watched it, so I may be misremembering it, but I remember distinctly my feeling watching it was one of, like, embarrassment, and it was just cringe. And I've not revisited it since, and I was hoping to be inspired in such a momentous occasion. And so my point to that is not to criticize Michael Jordan by any means. It's to highlight that someone of such amazing accomplishment and stature with this type of mindset can also diminish an opportunity that could be used to inspire millions and millions of people to something better than themselves and higher. And that's a responsibility that we carry. And we lose out on that with this type of, I did it. on my own attitude and this ego that really is quite frankly is just unfitting, in my opinion.
To me, it's definitely not winning. So
No, I mean winning games and championships, maybe.
sure.
But even back to the easiest thing to prove, like the dude never took the court by himself. So like it to me, it's really hard to justify. Well, yeah, I did it on my own. Like I won on my own. Well, no, you didn't. There were 4 other dudes at any given time. And there was a dude that backed you up while you sat the bench, that kept the game going. So like, what about that guy? I don't know. Could be important. Maybe not. I may be wrong, dude. I'm not a basketball guy. I'm not a basketball guy. Never played.
Interesting combo. Love it. I will continue to read the book. I'd be interested and curious what other people think about the book if they've read it. When this podcast comes out, would love to see comments. Would love to have a conversation about it.
Well, and I encourage you, Stu, as you read it, be inspired by some of the points that you could take from Michael Jordan. And because like all men, we all have something amazing to offer. And we all have things that make us imperfect. So I'm sure there are things in that book that you could fully take on board that would make you a better man. 100% acknowledge that.
Your statement, sir. Good point. Thank you.
You will never be 6'8" or 6'6".
No, no, I will not.
Or even 5'8".
5'7.5", dang it.
5'7.5", baby. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
You can't love by yourself either. Yeah,
True.
different topic.
See ya.